Right, welcome to another episode of Powerful Lives. So we've got our good friend for the second time,
My name.
Shyam Batra.
Again. Wrong. Again.
I say Shyam. Is it Shyam?
No. Shyam.
Shyam.
I know it's got a
but
Y in it.
I have this with my missus because I say catch up. She goes, what? Like, catch up. I say we're going on a tour. She goes, you're going on a tour? No, we're going on a tour. Like she's like, no, we're going on a tour. I was like,
You've got to use your English
So-
words. Shyam.
Shyam.
Silent
like,
Y.
Like Shyam El Sheikh. Why don't you say that in the
Not
first
Sharm
place?
El Sheikh. Oh my days. Are we on a comedy show?
Obviously, we want to get into the nuts and bolts of what's been going on the last few years. Really, really important because this, obviously we've been following you for a long, long time now.
Yeah.
But just to give the audience a little bit of background on yourself first, just basic, where you was brought up and.
Ah, yes. I'm a Hillingdon boy, born in Hillingdon, born and bred, mate. Like some guy said when I was on Rob's show, he said, "This is England. Go back to your own country." So I thought, I want to see this guy. This is a guy I need to meet. I mean, like at the end of the day, out of all of the people that I'm standing for and standing with, it is our country. It is that I want to see the best things happen in our country, not be in this ridiculed position that we are laughed at. In the rest of the world, it's supposed to be the fifth richest nation in the world. I don't see the riches. What I see is factually the money dissipating everywhere, from the mayor's office to the prime minister's office. Where suddenly can they just get 600 million to give to Ukraine or to give to China or wherever?
It's bizarre though, isn't it? When you look at politics and finances, they've got no money, but then they just they'll find like a few hundred million here or a few billion here, and it's like, but never for what we would class as important.
Yeah, well, I'm Shyam Batra. I was born in Hillingdon. My parents came here from a long time ago, but my dad was very high up in the Indian government, and I learnt a lot from him. But unfortunately, they passed away when I was still quite young, really, and I didn't have the best time with my father because, like, I would have loved to learn more from him at that time. And then I think because my mother loved him so much, she lasted about another 5 years. But it was still quite a difficult time. But growing up, trying to find your way in the world, when even though I had the education and stuff, I still had to move forward to get more information, more education. And I encourage kids. There was somebody that said, why do you need to go send your children to university? I can't remember which politician it was, but it was somebody. But they said, don't go to university. Go out in the world and start working. Well, some people can work. Some people get the inkling to, like maybe yourself. Maybe you didn't go to uni, but you had a vision in your mind and you'd followed the track.
I just about went to school.
You went past it, you mean?
I didn't stay on or anything. We only done GCSEs and that was it. Was out.
But I mean, look, at the end of the day, if our education system in this country was superb, there was a time when I was younger, I remember everyone wanted to be in England to study, from kids' age to university. And UK was the place, when there was free education. I mean, at the end of the day, there was a time where the universities, we were able to, if our exams were great, you could go into uni and no charge to the parents. Then it started off at like £3,000 per person, then 6, then 9. If you've got 3 children and they're all academic, you've got to spend £27,000 a year to educate them. But the problem is, in this country, now it's like a disencouragement. The information that I give you is available on the internet somewhere. So I hope that platforms don't block us, because we're only giving out the real stuff, and what comes from our mouth is truthful. It's not made up and stuff, that we need to be banned or blocked. But the way social media has progressed, I mean, we've got this situation now with, I was reading the other day, aggravated thoughts or speech.
It's the world's gone mental.
No, it's our country.
No, but I mean, as in the world's gone mental, as in like, where has this come from?
I don't know. I mean, aggravated thoughts.
I read...
Is this where you close your eyes and someone knocks on the door and says, what are you doing?
Wasn't it a couple of months ago, someone got arrested for praying in his own house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy, I wrote to him and I was like shocked because he wrote back to me and said that, you know, I can't believe that I don't know what sentence he's going to get now, but he is obviously going to get a set. But
don't you think, like, probably 15 years ago, common sense has started just eroding? It doesn't seem to exist anymore, you know?
Well, this is why I've created, as you know, I ran for Mayor of London, which we'll highlight a little bit. But when I ran for Mayor of London, I put my heart and soul into it. I tried to think that there's no corruption. Stupid me. And like happy-go-lucky, talking to everyone, knowing full well that we had a roadmap, we had a plan, we had a 58-page roadmap. And in that roadmap, it also said at the end, we are going to talk about the 15-minute cities. And that video that I did with, I think it was IB Times, it's now gone to 47 million people. If you put my name, Shyam Batra, Shyam.
How'd you say it?
Shyam, Batra, in X, and then you click on the video section, you press that button, I swear to you, every single person around the world has put it in their languages and copying everything I'm saying. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it like they say that you can't talk about the 15-minute cities. Well, why can't you? Because it's factual evidence. It's actually happening in our country. Roads are being blocked. Why have we got 20-mile-an-hour lanes? Simply because they're trying to get you to slow your life down with a car. Eventually you'll start saying, well, if I can drive 20 mile an hour only in my car, I might as well walk. It's going to take me a bit more time, which means eradication of cars eventually. You won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car, for example. But these are the things that are being done. That the one thing I hate about government here is not like America, you get a mandate. Like Trump's got a huge mandate. Starmer's got a huge mandate. We don't know where these votes have come from, first of all. There's secrecy, not transparency. And so if you've got this problem where you're going to be told that in the next 5 years, the 2030 agenda is that you cannot go out of your 15-minute city or an area that you're going to be placed in, what happens to your business? What happens to your children's lives? What happens to the schools and everything? They haven't thought this out properly. And I'm hoping to God that this thing never comes alive, because to me, I feel it's the worst thing that can happen. Forget everything else. But this is the worst thing that can happen. And I've been to a lot of countries, and I've been to see some of the mayors in a lot of countries. This is why I've got factual information. I've been to France. I've been to Italy. I've been to a lot of countries, even Africa. They are adopting it. I mean, it's just wrong. Did they ask the people? Was it part of a mandate? Did the public say, did Starmer say, you know, we are going to do this? No. But why is it that we get somebody in to represent us in the world, to look after us in our country, to protect our children, our families, and they do a U-turn, and they just don't care. At care, you know the word care, in my mind, when I used to sell life insurance, customers are a reason to excel, right?
Yes.
So when you've done business with someone, naturally you say to them, look, John, is there anybody else that you could recommend me to for the work I've done for you? Yeah, sure, there's this, and this. You know, where's all that gone?
But don't you find, I've always looked at politicians on the same sort of plateau as estate agents. I wouldn't believe a word they say.
Everyone has that same thought, and that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to do. I call it politics, Because when you enter, you've got 20,000 people that they've just voted for you because you said, I promise you, no matter what happens, I will definitely do everything you said. I promise you. He can't say that. He doesn't have the power.
But don't you feel that, like, if we went back for the last sort of 30 years, none of them do what they say. Like, they literally, he's given what they want on paper, and then you turn and do whatever they want to do. But it seems, I think they get away with it because the last person done that, and the person before that done that, and the one before that done it. Yeah, it just seems to be par for the course.
If you get Farage in now today, I know the elections are coming up soon, but if you get somebody like him in, you've just got another Starmer, another Sunak, another whoever. We have had a history of weak prime ministers, okay, and their cabinets.
But don't you think this is the biggest problem? Like, even now, there's no one shining through who you want. There's not. but you know what I'm saying. To the average person, they're looking and they're going, I don't really want him. I don't really want him. I don't want him. I don't really want him. And people are now picking what they class as the best of a very bad bunch to lead the country. They're obviously very worried about voting for someone who's not, one of the big two parties, potentially big three parties coming in now. But obviously with reform, but people are scared they think it's a wasted vote if they vote for, the smaller party.
I say this to everyone, that now you really got to think about your vote. Your vote is the most personal thing that you can share with yourself. It isn't for everyone. That's why you have to go into a booth, get a little pencil and a little piece of paper, tick the box, and suddenly, woof, that what you've just done, the vote, has gone somewhere. It's probably not going to get to the counting area for a long time, and we know why. But the problem is that is not democracy. You don't use a pencil and a simple X boxes, just like back in the day. We're in the 21st century. This is
the thing, right? You've paid your council tax.
Yeah.
You go online. Yeah. Why can't you not vote online?
Well,
is it any safer?
I would say to you that this would be the best thing.
Yeah.
You have your personal space here, and you can sit in your corner and you can click and you can know about who the person is, who isn't the person, and you can choose who you really want. But the problem you've got now is that when you start doing stuff like this, you've got a lot of divisive characters. As I said to you, you get 20,000 votes from somebody, from the county, right? And you go into Parliament. You become a member of Parliament. Do you know that word? Member of Parliament. That means that you have just left 20,000 people and gone into this lovely club with nice carpets and everything. And they tell you what you can say and not say. Now, that's not democracy. You're there to represent the public or your town, for example. Like back in the day when I was younger, I used to watch the shows on TV. And I used to see that these MPs would come and say, I represent Southend or Scarborough or whatever. And this is what my people want. This is what I came in Parliament for. No one says that. It's like, you're just like stuck here. This is why the council elections, it doesn't really matter about them. They're yearly. It's fine. But the problem is that why would you elect people to run a council when the council is bankrupt? Or they use the word. Physical word is bankrupt. We know that government has money but doesn't give it. But what I'm seeing is that I'm thinking that a lot of these councils, many of them, whatever money is collected, it's gone. Where's it gone?
But this has been a problem for many, many years.
Why? You know why?
Corruption.
Exactly.
But coming back to that, something you said earlier, you thought the election process there would be no corruption. Oh, why?
Well, I was naive, and when I ran for Mayor of London, I genuinely thought I would win. And my stance has always been to be a man of the people. So if I win the next election as mayor or prime minister, I will go back to my public and ask them, when we make major decisions, guys, it's on your back as well as mine. I will represent you, but tell me, what shall we do? Shall we go to war? Shall we get our schools independently run by the local counties and not deal with governments anymore? We want to show transparency, not secrecy. Prosperity, not poverty.
But would you do this on a vote system? How does it work? Because this is, I think...
You could do referendums constantly, but the beauty of this is that people are waking up and they say, it's great. We can actually get a say of what we want, which way our country should be turning or going. And we don't have that. We do not have that facility here. I mean, I went on a lot of international shows regarding the Ukraine and Russia war, about Musk. And they asked me about Musk, and they said, don't you think he's bad doing all these emails and everything else and destroying the Dodge system and all this? I said, listen, they are in their country. They should be allowed to do what they want in their country. Trump has got a mandate. If he wants to do something, it's none of our business. Why do people need to poke their nose in other people's countries? Do your business first. I've always said here, our country is broken. We need fixing. Who is going to fix it? Farage can do the talk. Johnson can do the talk. Took us out of Brexit, built a house, nothing in it. What is that? It's a joke. But where do you go from here? You fix your country first.
See, Farage let me down the day he delivered Brexit and then walked away.
Yeah.
That for me was crazy.
But he does that all the time.
But he handed it over to a group of people who didn't want Brexit. It was crazy.
Brexit is, look, it's a very simple system. We had steps to walk into Europe, okay? The doors are shut. But you could have been smart enough, and you could have, if that was me, before even thinking about it, I would have gone to all the countries and said, do a deal with us privately. Let's talk about tariffs. Let's talk about walkways. Let's talk about movement of people, etc. And let's do the thing properly, the way we want it done. Because if we decide to leave, we don't want to lose you as our partner. And we'll make many partners. And look, we have a circular world. We have so many great countries there. And have you heard about Africa? You're in our international human rights. Have you seen any noise from Africa? They're getting on with it. Do they need aid? Maybe, maybe not. But they're getting on with it. 1.561 billion people in Africa. They're not making any noise. Oh, please give us some money. No, they're getting on with life. They're making their own way. And whilst the rest of the world is worrying about, he's got my land. He's got my land. We don't want these people in this country. We don't want this. Come on. We're supposed to be integrated people living in a country or a world where we can transact business. We all love doing business, and there's so much scope in the whole world. What signal do we send to our kids? What are our kids going to do? They're looking at our fathers and mothers and thinking, wow, my dad's so successful. I want to be like him, a role model. Where are the real role models? We don't need footballers to show as role models. We need to show good, decent business people. I would like to create an educational system where the counties or the cities run education, give them the money, and they run it. And there's monitoring done. And so the kids are really spiked up. They can really motivate themselves to get education done and then get into business. Put a business curriculum in there for them. Put other languages there. Don't impose things on children because they rebel. And if you get the best out of them, for me, that is the future.
The school system is obviously an outdated model.
Yes, it is.
In a big way.
Very big way.
I'd like to see
I don't like it.
But the trouble is, it won't, what we want, if you look at control, the school system works to control 95% of the population into just becoming sheep.
Well, don't forget what's happened with our kids being told that you can be a girl if you want or a boy. I mean, come on, let's be honest about this. This is all truth, right? But why would you send your child to a school? This is why you have a private system. Incidentally, we are the highest in the world now with 20% taxes on them. It really differentiates a lot of things. That extra 20% could have gone somewhere else. But no, it's all about money. And what I don't understand is that we employ a government. Actually, we employ that government. They've got no right to take our money.
But it's Labour tax the rich, isn't it?
Well, no, it's now attacking everyone. They're not even going to the rich and saying, hey, you know what? We'll do a deal with you, 15% for you. Don't worry.
But with regards to, you look at, why have they hit public school?
You know why?
Private school. Because they deem them as wealthy people, and that's Labour in the whole.
But when you started off, you had no money, and today you might be worth £10 million. Is that your fault, or is that your success?
But this is the big problem. People seem to have an issue with people who do well, but they would never swap for their life.
I say to people that everyone has 4 fingers, 1 thumb, a mouth, a legs, and they can do whatever they want to do in this planet if they really want it. If somebody like that poor guy who died who used to own Apple, I forgot his name.
Jobs,
Steve Jobs, came from nowhere, had an intelligent mind, decided to create a product, again in his house, mum and dad's house, and became one of the wealthiest people in the world. That's not his fault. That's his success. This is where I encourage everybody motivationally to do whatever you want to do. Because if you have a vision and a dream and a goal, you can achieve it. You can conceive it, believe it, and achieve it. And that is what the mindset is. Because like in schools now, we don't even teach motivation.
Do you know what? I listened to a really good pod the other day with Stephen Bartlett, and that, I can't remember what his second name is, Gary. He's sort of blown up on TikTok, I think, at the minute. He's very much for the poor. He was a trader. I can't remember what his name is. We'll find it. But it was really good because he was really, everyone. He was very much the Labour where give to the poor. There should be no rich people. And the other guy was saying, where are the poor? He's saying the poor just want to go work. They want to run businesses. Well, okay, where are they going to work then? Because these are the guys creating the industries.
Yes,
they're creating the jobs.
Yes,
and you've got people. The top. I can't quote the numbers, but the top 5% of people are probably creating 80% of all jobs. It's like it doesn't work without wealth.
Well, I mean, the wealth comes, as I said to you, if you can manifest in your mind, okay, you can, like you're having a dream at night and you think, God, that's a great idea. Why didn't I put it into practice? You can always achieve the money anywhere you like, okay? Because I know, look at India now. The middle classes are so wealthy. They weren't wealthy, they were poor. What I want to do, if I can become Prime Minister, I will tell you this. I will firstly give a lot of money back to the public. I want to make everybody wealthy, not just one person. I don't want to see any people that are on the poverty ladder. I mean, when I took these, I want to talk to you about the 49 people that I took off because a lot happened after we did our first show.
Yeah.
And I want to see if employers are employing employees, I want to see them get wealthy. I really do, because the minority makes the majority. And if you think that you class yourself as poor, you're not poor. You've got a family, you've got children, you've got a house, you've got a car. You're not poor. Don't use that word. It's a negative word. But wouldn't it be nice to live in a country where everyone has prosperity and no one has knife crimes? No one needs to go and rob in shops. And today I was listening to that Ferrari guy on LBC, and he says, oh, we've got the highest crime in the world, shoplifting, shop this, shop that. Who cares about that? Talk about real things with real lives of real people, powerful people. But the thing is that they are not doing what we asked them to do. We gave them a mandate and said, fix our schools, fix the NHS, fix our unemployment. No. You know what? Can we give aid to Africa, to Germany, to France, to Italy? What about us? Why are we last? Instead, we have a mayor of London who is imposing fine after fine since I spoke to you. Blackwall Tunnel and Silver Street, April the 7th, if anybody doesn't know, has been charged £4 each way. Where is that money going? We don't know.
No.
We're never going to know because the UK doesn't show us accounts. Forget the world. It should show us. Every constituent that voted for that party should be held liable. There's no liability, right? This is why Starmer can stand in Parliament. You can say what you like to him, about him, ridicule him, whatever you want to do. He's got a mandate. He's going to do what he wants to do, and that's wrong. It is every government we've had, Sunak, from all of them, they're either being told what to do or they're not doing what we asked them to do. That was the pledge that he said. The word manifesto doesn't mean anything. I want to set up my city and I want to go into government and I want to be the slave of the people because I am the same person of the same people, poor or rich. I want to be that guy. I don't want to be this like stupid guy that goes into Parliament and says, oh yeah, okay, well, I'll read from the script. Don't worry. I'll do the right job. Come on. Have the balls. You're a man. You have balls. Use them. What is this?
When you look at society on a whole, don't you find though, there's a lot of people out there who they don't want, they want to be given. There's givers and takers. And there's so many people out there. The benefit system for me is so wrong. It actually encourages people. Weak. It encourages people to not work.
Yeah.
If you're a minimum wage worker, and you're gonna, I've spoke to numerous people who have said they'd be worse off if they go to work. That's crazy.
No, it is.
It's crazy.
Didn't people understand that when we were locked in COVID, what happened? Weren't people going crazy? They can't get out of their house.
But you've now got this system where it pays you better to be laying indoors watching daytime TV. Bang a bit of Trisha on, and you're basically earning more than someone else who's washing dishes at a local restaurant. It's not right. No,
it's not right. And I think that should be the weakest link. That should be given to the people that are disabled. Okay, it's not I don't mean to be rude, but it's not our duty to keep someone that is disabled in and on benefits, for example. Let's find a way of making their lives better. Okay. But
this is the problem. What you're saying there, if someone's disabled, 100 million% we look after them. To a degree, obviously it depends on the form of disability.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who will use the disabled card,
but not go to work.
And there's part of fuck all wrong with them. Being serious. Yes. I could probably point you 10 of them.
Yeah.
Who I've come across, in the last 2 years, who there's nothing they could work. They choose not to work. This is, when you sort of talk about grouping the whole public, there is a problem where we've created lazy people.
Yeah, the welfare state. I mean, how many countries have a welfare state? Hardly any.
Like I know genuine people who are out of work and really trying hard to get back into work. I also know.
But where are the ingredients for them to get back to work?
But for every one person who's trying to get back to work, there's 10 of them who are just sitting there happy not to.
Well, we need to change that
system. It's a problem.
Well, okay, that they know who they are. We know who they are. We can get them in, and we can get. You remember the job centres?
Yeah.
Where are they? Okay, they're online.
Just rip one of them out.
But if we can if Britain needs to be first, I've always said this is a fantastic country. Forget the divide to rule and all this other nonsense. We can go into history. History's gone now. It's on a piece of paper. We're living reality. Tomorrow is the future. The next minute is the future. Let's focus on bringing our country back. And I want to fix this country. I don't want to do politics. I've said it a million times, and I don't want to talk like a politician because I am not. I'm dead against how they think and breathe. They might get their 97 grand a year or whatever, give themselves a pay rise. That's fine. But as a prime minister and having a cabinet, if we went out to the world and brought in £1 trillion worth of business and we got a bonus for it, the rest of the country makes money as well. It's not about us. It is not about creating a government that stands secularly on their own. Okay? They have a mandate, but they abuse the mandate. Here, you start saying, right, the NHS, we won't throw money into it. We're going to call Brett in with his building business and help fix it because it needs fixing. You know, you damage your hand and you get a cut. You get something to fix it. Infrastructure is what part of my city is. The infrastructure. We need to rebuild our infrastructure again. I mean, you go into London, why do tourists want to come here? They've got dirty buildings, roads are not clean, potholes everywhere, people knifing them, stealing money, you know, threatening them. No one wants to come here. I've seen it.
It's changed a lot in 15 years.
What, in the last year or two, the travel agencies are saying we're giving you a warning not to go to London. Don't go to London. I mean, come on. Who is promoting us? What, this government? What I'm trying to say to you is this. A government is somebody that you and I place, but you and I are their bosses. We tell them what to do, not the other way round. This is like all of these speeches. The reason they're doing all of this is to segregate us, okay, split us up like most people would do. It's easier to control. And then...
divide and conquer.
But look what's happened after the riots last year. Look what happened. Everybody got subdued and stressed. They let out bad people and put in the good people. Okay, if that had happened and I was in charge, I would have said, you've got a warning. Do it again and you seriously will be in trouble. But the serious crimes that are happening today with children, with women, etc., are just being ignored, I think.
It makes no sense. Well, as I said earlier, common sense has eroded.
I've always believed in common sense.
Yeah.
I love common sense. And this is why the Ukraine and Russia war doesn't complete, because no common sense is being used. If somebody's killed a woman and a child, for example, he goes into prison for 40 years, comes out in 20. Do me a favor. I want to bring capital punishment back. I know it's a big thing, but I want that deterrent there. Regardless of whether it's an injection or
but
whether...
Don't you think the deterrent is that's what the country needs? Because
of course.
If you know, like we said about knife crime many times, many times, make it mandatory. I know Adam Brooks has been, he started a petition to make mandatory sentences. Like, bring it in. So simple. You know what? You're caught with a knife, bosh. Done. You're in prison.
I mean, it's not just knife crime. When I ran for mayor of London, it's easy for people to say this, but I saw from my own eyes when I went to the hospitals in the evenings, they would not tell me what is wrong. So, but we've been told today there's only been one knife crime. She said, "You're having a laugh." It took me 5 days to get chocolates and thingies to them to find out that every day in the boroughs, in the hospitals, there's between 100 to 300 people getting hurt on knife crime, and the percentage of deaths.
Do you remember when you was young, right? When you was young, if someone got stabbed in this country, it would be on the 6 o'clock news.
I never heard of it then. Did you?
No, it wasn't a thing, and it was, you know, it would be a massive thing. Someone's been stabbed in Nottingham, say. Yeah. You know, you know, 2 or 3 hours from where we live, but it would be on the 6 o'clock news because this is a one-off incident.
Well, that's what I just said. The hospitals told me, you're a mayoral candidate, we're not allowed to tell you anything. You know, but if you're running for election, you've got to know what's happening in your city. And if the only way to find factual information is to ask the people that are in it and see it every day. And I was shocked when I saw it could be as high as 200 to 400 incidents per night.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
And so this is obviously, why would the government say to you, oh, by the way, today we've had 200 knife crimes, we've had 50 gun crimes. They want to keep you subdued so that you feel you're still living in a city. But a lot of women that I've spoken to are scared in the evenings to go home off a bus, off a train, someone following them.
Not even women. Yeah. Not even women.
Even men.
Even men.
Yeah.
You know?
Watches. Yeah.
Yeah, watches. You can't go in London with a watch on. No. Like, you know, you feel like you're running a gauntlet. I've spoken to so many people who have actually sold their watches off because they said we can't wear them anymore.
Yeah, I am scared. I mean, a couple of my old footballer friends had their hands out here, and this guy would turn up with a knife at the traffic lights within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Give me your watch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to stab you. We can't even run off. These maybe stuck
Can't
in.
go nowhere,
no
yeah.
one helps you. You see, I do remember when we were kids. I don't know if you remember, but there was a scuffle in the road, or there was a problem. Everybody would pile in and fix it. Right now, they stand there with their phones.
I was going to say they'll film it there. Yeah.
They're filming.
Yeah.
No point, guys, because it could be one of you tomorrow. And what do we do then?
But this is the problem. The way I see the problem in the country, when you said earlier you weren't like, and I know you don't mean you're not interested, but things like stealing, right? Stealing, people, it's become legal to steal. What is it, under 250 quid? Under £250, it's not prosecutable.
I mean,
why?
But crime is a crime.
But is it just because the police force has been so thinned out? You know, like they can't deal with this, but it's now creating on a daily. People are going in. You know, if I would hate to own a shop or a supermarket now because they're just getting robbed on a daily basis. People are going in, just taking their dinner and walking out.
When I was 10, 11, I used to know the bobbies, the police, the people with those original hats. Yeah, the original bobbies. Yeah. They would knock on people's doors and say, "Can I have a cup of tea?"
But do you remember there used to be, listen, quote me if I'm wrong, but there used to be, was it 6 foot, you know, like a bobby had to be 6 foot tall?
Yes, I remember, yes.
I see a couple of police the other day, I'm being serious, I reckon one of them was 5 foot.
And probably out here.
He was only young, little young kid, like he literally looked like a kid, he was probably 30 years old, but he looked like a child. And I feel that, again, that authority's gone. You know, like people have lost... You know, it started in schools at home. You know, like obviously they stopped the smacking of kids. And I'm not saying that was a good thing, but again, it was that deterrent. Well, you know, sometimes a little bit just no. It's not a. You know, I'm not talking about beating your kids up because that's totally wrong. But just you know, sometimes it'll just be that hand of you're not even going to touch them, but it's like no, you know, and so kids learn really early that that's wrong and that's right.
Yeah.
You know, then they go to school and their teacher would be a bit like, you don't do that. The authorities come away from the teacher. So now they're going through, we've got this non-discipline at home, non-discipline at school. They're now 16 years old going into the world. Well, now they might have an altercation with the police. The police can't even touch them. The world's gone mental.
Yeah.
You know, and how do you pull it back from that?
Control. You control the authorities that you have.
It will take years.
No. You control the authorities you have. You don't just give the head of the police autonomy. You question, why is it that we had 200 knife crimes last night? You need to bring that down. Well, you need to educate more of the kids because a lot of it starts in some of the schools where the children don't want to learn. Like you said, from the home, they may have the same issues and they escape to the school and the school doesn't really care about you. And so the teachers that have studied all of this time goes out the window in 5 seconds. And I think education is a very important fiscal part of our curriculum. Even like education, meaning that you educate your kids to use common sense. We don't use common sense. Not even the guys now in... I mean, this Trump's guy. He says that he said he's never done negotiating before, but he's just following Trump. I mean, come on, we got to get discipline back in our country. I say to you this: that the more people that are not wealthy that start coming up in the ladder and becoming wealthy, knife crime and stuff like this will dissipate. At the moment, everything is a let loose scenario. Everything's a let loose scenario. Do what you want, but there's no harsh and fast rules. Knife crime is the worst thing in a crime right now in our country. It is not just London, Birmingham, Scotland, everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And if we educate these people, because I went to the county lines, I saw the gangsters, well, I would call them that. You know, when I had my stab vest on and I came with 3 of my friends and we got close. They said, you go, we're not coming out with you. And I said, well, were you going to just let me out there? And I went out there and I was scared, really, because they were big guys. They're standing in a council estate. What do you want? I said, I want to talk to you. I might become mayor of London, and I want to talk to you about knife crime and other crimes. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And by the time I twisted them round, he said, you've got 5 minutes. I spent 35 minutes with them. And I learnt a lot of information because they are frustrated and they are angry, and they will do what they want to do to bring some money in somewhere, whether it's bad or good. And it's not a good thing. But you can let the sun shine. It doesn't have to rain every day, but disciplines have to be put into place. Using common sense is the most important thing. Like you say to your child at home, don't do this again. Well, to that child, he's like, okay, might be young, doesn't understand, but he really understands what you just said. It was the words you used, and you used it in a harsh tone. So he's going to say, I'm going to rebel. I don't like what he said to me. And as time goes by, you start building a barrier. But if you said it to him in a nice way, son, please don't do this again. Because if you do, this is what will happen. But it's our words are very, very important. You can rouse someone up the wrong way, or you can turn them around into the right way without them knowing that what you've just done. It's the art of doing it.
The child psychology.
Yeah, but the problem is, why are schools not teaching common sense to the children when they're young? And
but
they are growing.
You're asking teachers on a very basic salary to do an incredible job.
That's another problem. The police, that some of the autocratic society we have, these people need to be paid bucks.
If you can tell me why a train driver gets what, twice, if not 2.5 times more money than a police officer?
Grand.
It's a joke.
Yeah,
it's a joke.
For driving a train, or
driving a train,
autonomous train, almost just sitting there.
I know train drivers are going to say they don't do anything. They literally sit there. I'm not saying that sounds harsh, but they don't do an £80,000 a year job. Now there'll be someone watching this who's a train driver, and they'll tell me different, I'm sure. But you can't make that right if you're paying policemen, what, 35 grand?
I know many police friends, and they are doing such a hard job, right? 18 hours a day, some of them, and getting no benefit.
No.
And the thing is that when this type of thing, if you pay, this the same story, isn't it? If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Yeah. Monkeys get peanuts. So you got to pay what people are worth. How many people this year alone have left the NHS, doctors, surgeons, gone to Australia, paid double the money? Even some of them have given them a house for a couple of years to get them on their feet. Because Australia in the last 5 years has excelled to no esteem. And we are still standing here. Oh, we're Britain, we're English, we're this. But if we are, then let's start all clubbing together and not be segregated. Let's forget about religion and creed and colour. Let's talk about things that really matter to us. Because if we go to China tomorrow or to Africa and there's a lucrative £1 million contract and you're a racist or something, what, you're not going to go? You're going to just put that aside for one day and go back to your beliefs again, which is wrong. But we've got to come together. I've said to the public many times, it's so important for us to be 1-5-25. One person knows 5 people. 5 people know 5 people. Spread the word. Come together. And you said about the knife crime. The knife crime can go. Knife crime is education, a lot of it, and frustration. Because a lot of children are being duped into this, threatened. There are no, security rules. Children must be protected first.
Do you not think harsh sentences?
Yes, I do, actually.
For me, that's the one that stops them.
I say to you that apparently I heard today on the LBC that there's only 400 children in prison for serious crimes, etc. Like this prison thing they call it. But
how many times have we seen it? I don't know, within the last year, we've seen a guy running around the streets of London with a huge zombie knife trying to attack people. He didn't go to jail. He didn't go to jail. So why is he not going to take it again? Yeah, slap on the wrist. It's mad. What's slap on the wrist? What
slap on the wrist? Yeah, people spoke out in the riots, went to prison, right? The harsh criminals don't do that.
No.
I mean, it's just it starts from home to school to out. If you can kill the home part, the school part, if they don't learn, the parents have got to tell their children, if I'm sending you to school, son, have you learnt anything? What have you learnt? Talk to me. And if the child can't communicate with you, you know he hasn't learnt much. Either he's not thinking, or he's stuck in a class of 30 people, one teacher who is really trying her best with low salary, making ends meet, coming to work dedicated. The problems are all here because we put governments into control to say, fix this, fix that. What do? They take the money, go to New York, get a luxury apartment from Lord Ali or whoever it is, and then what? Back to home, and nothing happens. Instead, we're putting taxes up. I mean, why do we need to pay council tax? Can you tell me? Do you know why? Do you actually know why you're paying it? Did you sign an agreement with the office, with the council office, and say, I agree to pay £200 a month to you for the next 12 months? No, there's no contract. So they're demanding money from you. Fine. If they say that we're taking 200 from you, Mr. Miller, you are going to get now for this. We're going to put a portion of this to the police, a large portion. Their average salary will become 45,000. We will endeavour to fit all the potholes. We will fix the local schools. We will help our community in the NHS. No.
We'll empty your bins.
Yeah. And what happens? The money goes to a bankrupted council. That money then goes somewhere else. It is a floating spiral of issues. And then the MPs are getting their money, but they don't even serve their constituents anymore. A 20,000 constituency in one area can't be served by one man in 1 year. Impossible. What is this rubbish? What, Starmer got Islington? Or do you think he does a constituency meeting every month or something to meet people? Does he? He's the Prime Minister. Oh, he's got his suit and tie on now, But we have to, I've said to you from the beginning, Brett, England needs fixing. None of the parties, I don't like that word party, it means you're going to have fun, right? None of these people, none of these people are actually doing anything about it.
I just think, as you said, I was just thinking about Boris and his lockdown party.
Oh, God. Well, that man should never, ever come back into government again in history, because he is the worst person I've ever seen in my entire life behave in such a way to people that liked him.
But I think he was a likeable character. Listen, we all know that likeable character who can't do his job, and I feel that was him.
Yeah, but then don't bring him into government.
He's the wrong. He shouldn't be there. Agree.
Business is business.
Yeah,
it's business first, and everything else later. But the most important thing in our world right now, in our country, I believe, is that we need to help our families, help our children, fix things, because things everywhere we look are completely broken. Knife crime is a very, very hard and difficult thing. And I had a lady from North Chicago who eradicated 90% of gun crime in North Chicago over 10 years. It took her. Yeah. And she, when I spoke to her about knife crime, she was laughing at me. She said, "What? Knife crime? Are you serious?" She said, "The biggest problem we have here is guns. It's the easiest thing to kill somebody. You can stand 100 meters away and boom, gone. But now, today, knife crime is the biggest thing in England. And probably in Europe, we are probably number one in the world for this."
Do we also feel that this has to come down to the amount of illegal aliens that we're now letting into the country on a daily basis?
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm pleased. Yeah. We've got to the boat. Look, I want to know one thing. Why is... Okay, England is the last stop out of Europe, let's just say. You've got Greenland, you've got Finland, and you've got all these other countries. But here, you've got France, Germany, Italy, Europe, okay? These guys are either being told, I think, that these gangs have done a deal with governments to say, we won't put them in your country, but because England's easy and no one's going to say anything, we'll drop them there. And I've mentioned the word foot soldiers. I only read this because I know there was a caption about the factual information I got from a paper, I think, I can't remember which country in Europe, but they were talking about the United Nations sending these single men to different parts of the world because I don't know why. Maybe we've got an alien invasion coming. I'm not sure. If we have, I'd like to be the first to meet them. But these guys are always in black gear. They turn up to the shores. They're all men. What are we meant to think? Because no government is saying to us, have they actually interviewed them and sat with them and said, why are you here? Who sent you here? What are you doing here? Detention. Yes? Why are they going into 5-star hotels? And then I've seen from my own eyes, I think I was going to Swansea or somewhere, and I passed this ground and I saw all these men close to a hotel. They're all like doing these drills. And I'm thinking, I wanted to video them. I didn't get time and I didn't think quick enough. And then I realized that going down the road, should I do this or not? Maybe I shouldn't do it. I don't know. But I don't want to cause any harm. But why are they coming to our country? There's a very good deterrent. I've said it on Liam's show, on most people's shows. Send some bullets out there. Put your Navy. Why have we got a Navy?
Why you don't need to?
Where's our Navy?
But we don't need the Navy. All you do is stop the benefits. Stop the money.
No. I'm talking about them coming from France or Italy or Germany on this boat thing.
Yeah, but same. Listen, they don't come if you stop the money. All you do is unplug the money. They don't come.
No, but they shouldn't enter our shores.
But they won't enter. This is what I'm saying. The simple. If you stop the funding, they don't go.
Well, I don't know how they're getting paid, but you're right. They are getting funded.
Yeah.
There's equipment in their rooms, and there's other things.
But this is what I'm saying. Stop the rooms. Stop the hotels. Right? Don't you don't? It's, at the minute it's like sort of pass go and collect 200 quid. No, stop the money coming in.
No, but
right?
the deterrent
Turn
starts.
around.
Yeah, but hang on. You've got France, Italy, Germany, for example. Why not? Why doesn't Starmer go to those three first and say, don't send any more boats to us? You are starting this action for us to then put them into houses here and to give them money and to do that. But what are they here for? If they're not here for a purpose, why don't they get on a plane? They spend all that so-called money, so people say.
Fresh start, isn't it? No one knows who they
jump
are.
on a plane and say, we are being persecuted. We are of this religion. We can't practice our stuff. Whatever the case be, come the right jurisdiction and then be told what you can and cannot do. What's happened to the Ukrainians? They've come here on a visa. They're actually not living here. They've actually been here on a visa. Now, from a war-torn country, from a country that's being exploded, whatever. But the point I'm making to you is that it was the sensible way to do it. We are a giving nation, I understand. But my point to you is, I don't want them to come to the shore. Forget getting on the shore. That's a different story.
I agree totally, but I honestly believe they come for the pot of gold. They come for the pot of gold. If they're coming over here and going to be homeless, living under a bridge somewhere,
yeah,
they ain't coming. They'll stay where they was. They're coming for the money and the lifestyle. And again, like we said,
what, do you think so?
The 100%. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there's not also an ulterior motive where we've now. I mean, it's a dangerous position that we've now got loads and loads, millions and millions of these.
We're getting plenty.
What 25, 30, 35-year-old men, like fighting age men.
Yeah, but you see, when you see the TV, you see a one boat coming, yeah? We've got a country, don't forget. They're coming from everywhere, everywhere across our nation. And the point is this, that maybe we're building an army because we don't have one. Okay, and if that is the case, then alert the public and explain to them what is really happening. They're not telling us anything. The women that see these men congregating...
The guys coming in will not fight for our country.
Well, if they're not fighting for our country, why are they here? They're not here to prosperity.
Maybe they're here to fight against it.
This is what I just said to you.
Yeah,
that is another issue that we don't know. I mean, I have determined that fact that it could be turning on us at some point, because Rob said to me, they're not going to turn on us, are they? They're not here to go against us, are they? Well, we don't know this because if we speculate, then we won't get far because it's not true. But they are here. They are doing something. They're in all the hotels paying. The government's paying them double the money. The owners. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I just said to you, we've got 70 million people in our country. We can build our own army here if we want. Okay. We don't need interaction with. It's not about our country is crowded like Farage will say or Reform will say. Oh, we've got too many here. We've got it's too much going on. No, we haven't. Our country, when you go through the air, it's all green. There's so much space.
Yeah.
What is this crowded business? In a city, maybe fine, but there's never enough people, I would say. But that's not the point. The point is this, that they're here for a reason. We need to determine, and it needs to be aired in Parliament. The people need to know, why are they here? What are they doing here? Why, as the taxpayers, are we paying for them to be staying in hotels, for the hoteliers to be getting exorbitant income, which they would never get from tourists?
Yeah, they're running
70,
at like
80%.
150%, aren't they?
More, double. I know a friend of mine is getting over 250%. And I said to him, don't you feel anything for your country? He said, well, I'm making money. I said, but I know, but you've got these people in there. And I've seen them. I've seen them from my own eyes. And
That's why they do it. They buy them.
Yeah, all men. And he said, Shyam, I don't need to come here because it's being run by the management company and I'm getting my money. And I said, yeah, but you're not listening. Somebody in that group there could turn on your family tomorrow. And then what? You're making the money. So greed against support or protection. But if they came to the shores, we would need to have a defense mechanism set up and they would be interrogated like you cannot believe it and send back. But the point I'm making to you is they come off the boat. Why can you not send them back on a plane? In America, when I was staying in Hawaii, I was wondering why, like sometimes the bus shelters, they'd have all these like homeless people there. And Hawaii is a beautiful place. And so I spoke to one guy and he said to me, you don't understand, do you? He said, what they do is give us 500 quid, put us on a one-way ticket to Hawaii. Why do we want to stay in LA? and that is what the mayor of LA was doing, sending them to Hawaii, right? So he wouldn't have to bother with the red tape and the headache and the stress of keeping them there in LA, dirty place. For example, some areas are really bad.
Grim, yeah.
Yeah. And he said, I said, so what's going to happen to you now? I said, well, the mayor in Honolulu is going to send us back. But the point I'm making to you is we can talk about this all day long. The problem is that the facts are here. They are here, and we don't know exactly why they're here. And like you said, they could turn on us. That is very, very important. And I'm wondering whether the government has employed them to come here. Like you said, they're getting paid money as well. They can't live with hot air. I mean, even the mayor of London, I believe, about 3 months ago, gave them bus passes to travel on the trains. What is this? We can't get our people to get a free. You were talking about welfare state.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There you go.
Yeah, but like you say, you've got retired soldiers. You've got veterans sleeping homeless. But
I stand firm. I would send them back straight away.
I agree. Yeah,
no, immediately.
Turn around,
they don't even come to our shore.
Yeah.
There's the ships coming up on our shore, and they stay there in every part of England. Don't care.
But don't you feel again? It comes down to that common sense. What we said earlier, like common sense is something's wrong here.
Yeah,
crime's gone up. Like near my two eldest children, there was they took over a hotel there. Crime went up 300%.
I know.
It's not rocket science that this is only bringing more grief. Knife crime's going to go up. House burglaries. Street robberies. It's all going up. But why can everyone see it? We can all see it. No one else can.
This is why I want to bring capital punishment back, and I want to have layers of capital punishment. You kill someone, and you're found out, and you've got the evidence. There's no point of going to court. There's no point of having CPS and all this rubbish. They go. They've admitted it, and they did it. What I don't care. What I care about is protection of. If it's my own children.
But don't you feel that women and children are not protected anymore?
They are very unsafe. I'm very worried about. This is one thing that, as an international human rights advocate or an ambassador of 54 countries in Africa, I don't know if you know, but last year we've saved about 355,000 women from being trafficked. That's Africa. And 55,000 children in containers. God knows what was going on, but I've heard that a lot of them would be used for body parts.
Really?
Yeah. And these are the things that man has gone insane. This is all man's fault, or woman, whoever. This is humans who are doing this nonsense to us, to everyone. And then if it's okay to go and shoplift, then they'll tell their mate, oh, you know what, I got a trolley full of goods last week. I'll go to another one and I'll do the same again. I don't want to pay. This wrong. This is, again, common sense and upbringing in life.
But do you remember in the old days, right? If you try to rob something out of a supermarket, you have a big burly security guard. They grab you around the throat. No, you don't.
I'm not being rude, but why don't we have dogs with the security guys? Trained dogs.
But even so, the dog will end up biting the security guard. They put the dog down. The dog will end up biting someone.
Well, no, you can train the dogs to warn them, but not bite them.
But this is the crazy world we live in. You'll see it now where a security guard will tackle someone and they prosecute the security guard. The world's gone mental. Yeah. Or like you say, the country's gone mental. Country's gone mental.
I mean, look, when I was on my journey, I stumbled across these people. I made friends with the homeless because as the journey was growing, because, as a mayor of London, to run for mayor, you can just not even put your hat in a ring. You just contact the people like we did in September, October and say, oh, I'm going to run for mayor of London next year's elections. There's no system. So you only become a candidate on the 19th of March. And if you're independent, for 7 days, you've got to go and get the names, the electoral numbers and £10,000 in 7 days, right? But in my journey, we planned everything. And so after all the events, I would go back. I would stay in London and I would walk to my car, and then I see these homeless people from all over the place, displaced. And I used to start speaking to them. And then I thought, I rang my friends in Essex area and said, the Indian restaurants, I said, look, the food you don't throw away, what you're going to throw away, give it to me, put them into these silver foils and give me them. And I don't know, I just picked 49 people, 3 women and 46 men. And I slowly started to make friends with them, but it was a huge barrier because they were rude and, okay, I had to deal with, I took it. Doesn't matter how it was. Yeah. I still went back again, like getting more punishment and again until I said, well, look, here's some food for you. I don't have any money, but I've got food for you. At first, they were just like not interested. And then I came back and I showed them that I cared. And so as I continued my journey, this was before I was taken out of the race. I launched C40 15-minute cities videos, and I also I couldn't get the electoral numbers. And the other thing I want to tell you is that they always use the 6 million number in London. There's more than 6 million people in London, right? They always use this 6 million number. The parties get all their information 1 year before, right? And I found out that the other candidates had been given their names and numbers and everything and were put into the race, right? But me, as I was, because the important point was that we had a drill. We had a decision to do towards the end what we would do. And that's when everything would hit the fan. And so they pretty much blocked me to get in. And then I was so upset and I wasted about a month or so. And then I went to these guys again. And I said to them that, let's all get together. Let me go and get you some food and let's talk. And I said to them, you cannot stay on these streets anymore. This is not right. And so I approached a couple of councils, and I don't know if you know. Did I tell you the story?
Yeah,
I did. Yeah. They called the police on me and
Yeah.
stuff, and eventually I got them a home. I got them universal credit. I got them an iPad, and when they went into these little, very small studios, I used to knock on the doors of the neighbours. I said, "Look, we've got a new tenant for you now." And they would say, "Well, that's a relief because these places have been empty for about 5 years or more." Now, that is the worst thing that I heard, that London was empty when we've got, you were talking about welfare state. You've got hard-working people living in council property, I understand, with 2 kids, 3 kids in a 1-bedroom flat. The father's sleeping on the floor. And yet they've got these places around London, probably around the country, empty, not earning any income. When, is it Rayner who stopped the buy-to-let, the right to buys? Yeah, got herself one, and then stopped it
surprise,
November 17th. But why would she need one? She's on, like, I don't know how much a year now, wealthier, shall we say. But this is the problem we have with common sense, because you can think about, for me, I'm single. I don't need to think about myself as such. I can try and feed myself, whatever. But I'll think about 5 other people in front of me and say, well, maybe I should try and help them. And I've lost all my money now. But for me, it's like a heartfelt thing. It brings tears to my eyes to see someone sitting on the street. And this is the cause of the banks, a lot of them. Because a lot of these people had beautiful houses, families, lost their businesses, lost their houses, nowhere to go. The woman walked off with children, disowned the husband. He's on the street. And all types of things happen again. Vulnerability, right? So I had to motivate them because they didn't even want to get to the council. And now they've got £90,000 in their bank account because I said to them, I ask you for one thing. You get this money, keep 500 for yourself. You don't have any bills to pay. You've just got £500 net in your hand. You can buy your food, some clothes, whatever, because you've not done this before. Clean yourself up, put 250 away because you don't know when you're going to need it. Now, for the last 5-6 months, I don't know, it's about 90 grand they've got. And now they want to start, they're going to now look at starting a business. And they asked me to help them. And I said, I don't want to now. I've done what I did. And I do not know, Brett, how I did this. I really don't have an idea. I didn't plan anything.
Yeah.
It's just from God to say, you got to help people. But I keep getting this signal that you've got to help people. And maybe it was a signal that I didn't get in as Mayor of London because of, I don't know, timing was wrong or whatever the case may be. Maybe I wasn't the right guy. Maybe I was the right guy. But common sense didn't prevail. I just went into my shell and I thought, I've done all this for, what did any gain come out of it for anyone apart from helping these people? And then I saw the light to say that when I see them, they cry, they have tears in their eyes, and like, I don't want to see them because they make me cry.
But it made the journey worthwhile.
It did, yeah, it did. Yeah. It did make it well. But I mean, if I could help thousands more, I would. But I can't. I went through 9 months of pain because they were aggressive and other things, and I realised that, okay, I understand. They are on the street. They've got nowhere else to go. They're not making deals with their phones and all this stuff. They're asking for money, and they might get scrapes of money coming in. But for me, he gets a gong, sir. And I
can't even get started on him.
I didn't, not that I wanted anything. It was my choice to waste my time. I wouldn't say waste my time, but to go there and help these people out. And there was 3 women there, and they were so calm. I just cannot believe that how they adopted. Women can adapt to a lot of things. That's why we need man and woman in our lives, because the women are amazing. You know, the stories that I heard were just incredible. This is why I said I want to do these town hall shows. And I want
Great shout, yeah.
Yeah, and I want maybe someone like you to interview me and bring in 200, 250 people in the audience. And I want to ask just 10 people from the audience to have lunch with me, on me, whichever restaurant we choose. And I'll put my camera there. And I really want to understand people, strangers, people we don't know from all walks of life, what their journey has been like, how have they got here, what is their motivation, maybe a billionaire, maybe a million, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But the point is that we change people's lives, and we need a stable, strong government to run. But I cannot see anybody that is qualifiable. I'm not rubbing my own brush for me, but I can give myself to the people, and I don't need to take anything back right now or whatever. I just want to try and fix the country, because it doesn't need politics. It's never needed politics. It needs a good, strong people like me in a government that will change people's lives immediately, and we can be prosperous. I say to people, don't look at the negativity of poor people and you're poor. Do something about it, because you've got a mouth, you've got hands, you've got the internet. You can do anything you like. And in fact, the door of success is wide open. You just got to go and grab it. It is about common sense. It isn't about like sitting back and saying, oh, he's rich, you know, I'm poor, I'm living on the welfare state. Get off the bloody,
No, you're good, yeah.
Get off the welfare state and make billions, because you can. You don't have to take our money, £150 a week or whatever it is. It's people's money you're taking.
But this is the biggest thing. Not everyone, but a lot of people there are so comfortable to be sitting there not working.
Well, you'd have to make hard and fast rules, and that would be losing your council property. Yeah. If you're not going to get off your backside and do something, because everyone else is struggling to make money and to put food on the table.
This is the trouble. There's so, you know, like any walk of life, there's so many, you know, there'll always be your genuine cases and your cases where you go.
There has to be hard and fast rules.
Yeah.
I feel sometimes that I want to be a disciplined person, and I want to spread that out, because the discipline will help everyone. Because within the discipline is common sense. Everybody needs a helping hand. We all know everybody needs that push. But how many millionaires have we lost in the last 6 months?
But we're going to keep losing them as well.
Yeah,
it's not an attractive place to earn money. And one thing you'll really find, no one's coming into the country. You know, we used to have an influx of people coming in to live in London. That don't happen anymore. Why would you bring your business to England?
Well, I mean,
it's all going the other way.
Taxes, the interest rates. As I said to you, my dream is to get people into economic freedom. I want them to own their own house. I want them to have their own businesses or working for somebody. And if they're going to work for someone, I'll promise on your show, well, I don't like the word promise, but nobody that is working for someone will pay tax. Very, very nominal. Just very nominal.
I see something the other day about them moving it up to 20 grand, the threshold.
No, I don't want anyone to pay any tax. Businesses like you and me, whatever, we employ people, fine. We can pay our taxes. But look how Dubai runs sufficiently well. You've been there many times.
Why do they want to tax? Yeah, like the more you earn. I'm really, really against it.
It's a form of control. That tax money is actually your money, sits in their bank account, and they say, you know what, let's give Nigeria 5 billion because they're quite poverty stricken. But no one else is giving them 5 billion. Huh. Why are we giving it? And have you ever noticed that whenever there's a catastrophe like the Turkish earthquake now, we're a very, very giving and considerate nation. And I admire the people here that they dip into their pockets, even if it's £5 or £10, and they see. Because the problem there is, Brett, is that you can't change climate. And all of the money that the WEF and WHO have taken has been on lies, literally, because they've never used that money to fix this climate. We can't. We're not God. God can choose when he likes thunderstorm, lightning, devastation. And this could happen to us. I mean, I've seen sinkholes in England. I didn't know, but maybe
the world's changing, isn't it? It's the world is changing.
Look,
it always has.
I say to you, if we fix our property first, then we can go and help others if we've got money. I'd like to see in the books 5 trillion, 6 trillion in our bank account at the end of the year, and look at our people, and they've got beautiful cars, beautiful houses. There's no people on the streets. There's no poverty going on. The welfare state is pretty much diminished away because everyone's learning to earn money, to become successful, and to give their future kids a beautiful life. But this is the world I want to see. And this world exists in many countries in the world. Why don't we have it? How are we the 5th largest in the world? We are nowhere near the 5th largest. Our skyline in London is sold to the Saudis or to the Arab nation. What I'm saying is that, my 4 goals are transparency, not secrecy, prosperity, not poverty, homeowners, not homeless, and champions, not criminals. I want everybody that hasn't followed me on Shyam Batra for mayor to follow me. But there's a reason for it, method of madness. And that is that whoever follows me, I always engage with them and say thank you very much, because I value that vision, that they've heard me for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, made their own opinions or not. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't hurt me. But I am for the public, and I want to remain for the public because I am the public. I'm like you. I want to be the same as you. I don't want any difference. And if I get into power, into business, into government, then I will do the best job I can. But I am forming City right now, and City organisation is going to be the one that I think is going to be a great player. And we're going to have lots of, and the money we raise from City, the membership monies, which is not going to be a lot of money, but the monies we raise, we will have some power to spend on our country. We don't care if we're in opposition or nowhere near the opposition, but we can be a giving organisation that can help people make their mind up in the future, that are we the right people for them to let us lead into government by their thing. Because our families are the ones that put us in. And the abuse of what Starmer did with the poor elderly. Now that's something took away either eat or heat.
But don't you think this is, again, it's such a major problem? They spend the money in the wrong places.
Yes, they do.
Like you say, taking away a £500 heating allowance whilst paying £3 million a day.
But that's
housing illegal immigrants.
They're not doing common sense.
No,
I mean, exist. Look, I say to you this: if I got into power tomorrow, these immigrants, whoever they are, they go back. Sorry, they're using no purpose for us. And like you said, they may turn on us. That worries me.
There's the right channels to come in.
Yes.
Listen, with the country, this country's been built on immigration.
Yes.
But immigration and illegal immigration are 2 different things.
Migration, immigration and illegal immigration.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
And that's what people, as soon as you mention illegal immigration, everyone will throw, you're racist, you're this. No, we're trying to protect our country, our kids. The future.
But what was the harm? What I don't understand, just give me that one thought. They come from a boat somewhere in Europe, let's just say, but they still have to get to France, I would say, right? We're talking about the seas now. How have they got no papers, and how have they allowed them to move on to someone else and then to France? The problem is with France, because it's the last stop, basically.
Oh, yeah.
But so
listen,
why?
If they was going to Iceland, we'd probably let them through as well.
Well, we don't know, because you see, England is in a perplexed place. It's and are we really covering all of the country? I bet we're not.
But to come in on a boat, the small boats they're coming in, Dover's the only way to get across.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not geographically trained to understand.
It's the only short. I think it's 22 miles. It's the only.
Yeah, but there must be people coming from Iceland somewhere. I don't know. Look, like you say, they know there's a welfare state. They know they've got easy pickings here. They can have some money. They can travel. But the problem is that there's boys and they're congregating together. And if a girl is walking past, well, it's like they've never seen a girl before. it is damaging. We don't want to. We don't need to create a deterrent. We don't need these people here if they're doing no benefit to us. They need to go home, and they don't go home. Then we need to make drastic rules with France and say, do this again, and we will have a problem, a big problem, because you're not listening to us. We don't want them. Send them back, or pay the money for putting them into a hotel on a one-way ticket back to where they came from. And from wherever they came from, how can they leave the country with no papers? You know, this is not right. We're the last stop. We're the last bus stop.
Again, kill the money. They won't come.
Yeah.
I promise you they won't come. Just defund it. If there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, they're not getting on that boat.
But like you said, it may not be the money that they need. Maybe there is another plan and another problem that lies ahead of us. I don't know. Again,
defund them. Listen, mate, you're making it too easy. You're making it too easy. Yeah. You know, once it's hard over here.
Well, yeah. Obviously, you stop the money, of course. The point I'm making to you is that if you defund them, you've still got to put them somewhere. You're still wasting money.
Well, no, because they don't come. That's what I'm saying. They don't come.
Well, we hope they don't come.
They don't come. Listen, they don't come. If they're coming over here and they're going to be living in poverty, they might as well stay in France.
Well,
or
France.
Germany, or whichever. You know, they reckon on average they travel through 7 countries before they get to us.
I think these countries are giving them money not to stay there and go.
Well, put it this way: whether they're giving them money or not, what they're definitely not doing is making it hard for them to get out of that country. And you can't blame them, because we do the same. We do the same, you know?
Yes.
Top man, Shyam.
Thank you very much.
Good man.